All right, folks. Well, like I said, we're going to take now just all your Twitter questions. So send them on in. Ashley is our gatekeeper. So, Ashley, what are you picking out today?
Trey Macvell writes, who is the greatest supporting actor? Mine is Gary Oldman. His roles are not lead roles, but he crushed them like a chameleon.
Yeah, Gary Oldman's great. My favorite.
I know you're going to say.
I bet you don't. If you do, bonus points to you.
He's in concussion. First name. And he's in
you're
contact.
Right. Yes, you're right. David Morse. Well done. Yeah. Whenever David Morse pops up in a film, you know you are going to get it. He is outstanding.
He's really good. He's really good in concussion, too.
And he's just fantastic in everything he's in. Yeah. When he shows up, it just adds something to the movie because he will morph into. Do you need him to be the big brooding, like even at his age right now, he can be the big brooding, hulky, kind of threatening looking guy. He can be a frail old man. He can be a funny dude here. He can be like just whatever. He seems to have a nose for really interesting movies, and then will attach himself to it. So to me, like. See, Gary Oldman is a A-list guy that sometimes plays leads in some things, oftentimes will play supporting, whatever. A true supporting, or what they would call a character actor would be David Morse, and he is tragically underrated. I love this guy, so that's mine. What about yours, Christian?
I can't remember his name, and he was in L.A. Confidential. Go. I'm gonna look him up.
Not Cromwell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cromwell.
The guy who was in Star Trek. He was the guy. I'm gonna create the warp drive.
Yeah.
Babe.
Yeah.
No, he's great. I go to some of the old standbys. Christopher Walken always makes a movie better. It's like salt and pepper. You're just like adding ingredients. You're like throw a little Walken in there. It just makes the movie just a little bit better. Steve Buscemi, another actor.
Oh yeah.
Who's like great in lead roles recently, but he started out as an amazing character actor, and still whenever he pops up in a movie, he adds that flavor.
Would you say Sam Rockwell? I guess too.
Sam Rockwell's amazing. Yeah,
but a legit lead at the same time. You know,
but he doesn't. If you look at the movies he's led, they haven't done
aside
well.
No, I mean that's true.
And he doesn't do, and it's not that he's not. He's one of the best out there. There's the smaller movies like Moon and stuff, of course. But I mean, there's when the majority of times you see him is when he's shining in supporting roles. Like the other one, the way back, is the one that he was so good in.
Or to go back to a conversation we had previously, Rob Schneider.
Ooh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, what's next?
Skylar writes, have you guys heard anything about a Jumanji remake or sequel?
I believe we were talking about that. Yeah, they are doing a remake. We were talking about that one recently. But it was recent news. So the progress on it at this point, not sure, but I'm fairly certain they are making one.
Yeah, they're probably just locked in, still trying to decide on what the script's going to be. You know how long
the direction they're going to go. I mean, so we're probably looking at something maybe 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Zeke Zola writes, will Disney/Lucasfilm continue to be as secretive for episode 8 and 9?
Here's something interesting. They did not do set visits for Star Wars Episode 7. And one of the things that I was told was that that was mostly because of JJ. And we know JJ likes to be very secretive. And and after you've seen Star Wars The Force Awakens, the secrecy is completely justified because the movie is a movie of like key things that happen that can alter your viewing experience. And so I get it. I think the secrecy they had was completely justified, even though JJ is already traditionally known for being very secretive. I have heard that Star Wars like Episode 8 and stuff like that will have set visits. So while I think you're still going to have a general feel of secrecy, I don't think it'll be as Fort Knox as it was for Episode 7. I don't know. Christian, what do you think?
I think it'll be a little bit more laid back, but the reason why they will probably definitely be super secretive is because it worked. I mean, it worked even with the press and everything too. And whether or not it had anything to do with the amount of success that it had, probably not. They'll still contribute to it, and they'll say, like, wait a minute, we were so secretive, and people were so curious about it. Look what it did in the numbers. So maybe they'll try to be more secretive with 8. But the fact that they're doing set visits, and you got to assume there's going to be more spoilers, spoilers. There's so many questions that are unanswered still that we want to see more of, and that we're going to learn more of. Maybe they're answered in 8 or even in 9. So I think they will, but because JJ is not directing them, maybe not as tight.
Hey, speaking of the big questions that still remain, this is a good time to let you know, even though there's no new movie talk tomorrow is a Jedi Council with Christian, myself, John, and Ken Knapsack is going to be joining us as well. And we're just taking a lot of your questions that you guys have sent in. regarding the big questions that still exist. So if you haven't seen Star Wars Force Awakens, you're probably not going to want to watch tomorrow's episode of Jedi Council, because we are going to get into those questions, which by definition will reveal a lot of spoilers. But watch for that tomorrow. It's going to go up tomorrow afternoon sometime. Keep your eye open for that. Anyway, Schnepp.
You know what? Without going into anything from the new movies, I'm going to go back in time, like over 30 years ago when Star Wars came out, and then they were making this movie called The Empire Strikes Back. Now, as a little kid, I remember being in the theater and seeing the first trailer for The Empire Strikes Back. Darth Vader jumping with his lightsaber, him fighting Luke. It's like the Millennium Falcon in an asteroid field. You're like, what is this? I don't know what it's going to be, but I can't wait to see it. It was so exciting. And the big spoiler for The Empire Strikes Back was that Darth Vader was Luke's father. And they kept that secret. They didn't reveal that at all until the movie came out. No one talked about it. No one ruined it because it just wasn't released until the movie came out. And I think that with this new episode 8, whatever it's going to be called, we know that, wow, I almost gave away a spoiler. Sorry. It's really hard to not talk about it without talking about it. I know. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Tell the truth. So, can't tell the truth. Anyway, episode 8, I think, they will loosen it a little bit. It's like, hey, check it out. You might get on a set visit. Look at this weird planet. Stuff like that.
Right.
You'll get a little bit of flavor. Some people are going to talk about certain things that at once all you catch up in the next week or two, you'll know certain things and it'll be like, it won't be as weird when you hear about that stuff. But I like the element of secrecy, and I like that. I really love the way they played it up with this episode. It's a little frustrating because everyone is like, I haven't seen it yet. You're like, feel like you're surrounded. Like, who can I talk to? Who's seen it? Oh, you've seen it. Let's go talk about it. But we have to whisper about it. It's like this weird secrecy. Even though the movie's out and it's the most popular movie ever, we still can't fully talk about it. Just in public.
It's going to feel like therapy.
Can you not spoil it for me? I haven't seen it yet.
Jedi Council is going to feel like therapy.
Yeah, Jedi Council, we're rocking the spoilers, so you better watch it tomorrow, but you have to have seen the movie.
Right.
We're letting you know. We're
Christmas
talking
Eve
about
treat.
everything. Everything will be revealed.
All right, what's next?
Collider Fanboy writes, is there any new news about Pirates of the Caribbean 5?
No, I mean, the last legit piece of news that really came out was Johnny Depp crushing his hand. And remember that?
Yes,
crushed his hand, had to fly back to the States to
he was
get medical
waving,
attention.
yeah.
Fortunately, he's just an actor. It's not like he's an NFL football player, an NBA player, that he needs the operating all digits. But apparently he seemed really in good spirits when he was getting on the plane to fly back.
Right.
He was fine. He had his hand wrapped up, going back to get it worked on. So I don't believe the film was delayed. I believe at the time they even said, look, we're just moving our shooting schedule around. So stuff that we were going to shoot later, we'll shoot now while Johnny's out. Then we'll do all of Johnny's stuff later. So I think everything's still on track. Other than that, really nothing new to report.
I think Amber Heard almost got her dogs killed when she flew him over to a
I
set
didn't hear
visit.
about
Yeah,
that.
she didn't have them checked in. They were like, the government stole the dogs back, and they were like, there's a big, hey, look, luckily the dogs were not put to sleep, but you gotta obey rules when you're going from country to country, especially with animals. I think it's called Pirates of the Caribbean 5 Cutthroat Island. That's what I heard.
You heard anything else?
Anything about it,
All right, what's next?
Desmond writes, who's more badass, Charlize Theron in Mad Max or Emily Blunt?
In what?
In anything.
Anything?
Wow.
It's unfair because I think Emily Blunt is pretty badass. So I think it's unfair to compare anybody to her. I think right now she is the most, let's put it this way. If you had a fight between Imperator Furiosa,
Right,
and I forget Emily's character's name in Edge of Tomorrow. Emily Blunt's Edge of Tomorrow
Super
thing.
warrior.
Yeah, Emily Blunt wins. That character wins that fight.
Right.
We don't actually see, while she is mentally, Furiosa is totally mentally tough, we don't actually see her in a lot of combat.
She could outdrive her.
Yes, she will outdrive
big rig.
Emily Blunt. Yes.
So if you put them both in a giant vehicle in the desert, Furiosa wins. In all other aspects, the warrior woman from Edge of Tomorrow.
The war hero.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's kind of an unfair thing.
It's funny because if you put them side by side and you didn't know anything about them, Furiosa looks tougher.
Yeah.
Oh, she
looks like
she's furious.
But
She's got a metal arm.
Everything. It just
And her name is Imperator Furiosa.
She looks more badass.
I mean, like, how badass is the name?
But not only because we didn't put a specific movie at tomorrow, even in Looper. Like,
Oh, yeah.
She's chopping wood all crazy
she's just
warrior
like,
style.
She's protecting
Got the
herself by herself,
shotgun.
man. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta go Emily Blunt.
Looper, directed by the Episode 8 director, Ryan Johnson.
Johnson.
Check
That's
out
what
so
Looper if you
excited.
haven't seen Looper.
That gets me so excited just when you say that. And
Yeah.
I mean, Brick, like all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, here we come.
Intelligent, amazing writer-director is handling the writing and directing of episode 8. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Max Washington writes, "What is your favorite old-time black and white movie? Mine is Casablanca."
We did that the other
I
day.
think somebody else asked us that the other day. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life.
I'm still going.
I go check out Double Indemnity. That's a great. His Girl Friday. I'd rock Out of the Past. I mean, there's so many
Citizen
amazing
Kane.
ones.
Citizen Kane is a huge one.
Marshall
There's
Wooden
like
Soldiers.
we could give you a list next year of the 100 black and white movies that you must see before
By
you
the
die.
way, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
What?
Putting together a list of 100 films.
Yeah, we're
black
not
and white that you
Hey,
guys have
I'll
watched.
do it. I'll do it on Twitter. Like, I don't know. It'll take like 400
Dude,
posts.
it takes me 2 weeks to get an email response from you. When are you going to
I'm
put
saying
together a
next
100
year.
lists?
Next year. Sometime next year.
All right, what's next?
Michael Precourt writes, "Which of the BFCA Best Picture nominees would you cut from the list if you could?" I pulled up the nominees if you guys want to hear.
No, I got there. So it's The Big Short. Well, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Carol, Mad Max: Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, Room, Sicario, and Spotlight. And I'm assuming if you're asking cut one, it would be to either make room for me. It would be either to make room for The Hateful Eight or Ex Machina. I know for you, it would probably be Ex Machina that you'd want to slide in there.
Yeah.
So which one would you slide out to make room for Ex Machina?
Listen, I think the performances were great.
I completely agree. I,
think
know where you're going with that. I agree.
The movie itself I thought was good, but I think that for me, Ex Machina was like a brand new take on sci-fi that I would take out Carol and put in Ex Machina.
Right. I would agree with you because they're both character pieces, but one is like a little more interesting to put in Ex Machina. And I would slide in Hateful Eight as a great character piece. I mean, I don't know why it's not in there. So that's a hard list, though. I mean, because all those movies are really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's not one. I agree with you about Carol. Like, to me, it's still an amazing movie to watch because of the performances. Overall, though, I would probably slide it out in exchange for Ex Machina. Ex Machina is not going to be in my top 5 per se, but I would slide Carol out to make room for Ex Machina. That's what I would. All right, what's next?
Entertainment Geek writes, "Of the new cast in The Force Awakens, who has the chance to have a long-term career in Hollywood?"
All of them. Well,
Yeah.
okay, first of all, number one, let's look at Oscar Isaac. He's already established. He's already on the path to being huge. I mean, Inside Llewyn Davis, Ex Machina, now we got him this. He's already...
The dude's Apocalypse.
Yeah, he's Apocalypse. So
He's already breakout.
He's in the trailer in front of his own movie.
Yeah, that's right. Before The Force Awakens opens, he's already poised for a very long, very healthy career. And he's talented. He's real good. And the women all swoon when they see him too, and that doesn't hurt either. Boyega, here's nice. He was already he was already a guy to keep your eye on because of Attack the Block.
Yeah.
Although he hasn't broken out.
Right.
He's going to break out now. To me, he was the biggest surprise of Star Wars: Force Awakens. I loved his performance, and I love what he brought to that. I think you and I were talking the other day in either your office or my office, and we were talking about how, you know who the happiest person and the most excited person in the world this Christmas season is? Daisy Ridley's agent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is the happiest, most excited guy in the world right now. She is going to be a megastar. And it's because she's not a sex symbol. This is what excites me about Daisy Ridley. I mean, beautiful girl, don't get me wrong. But it's not like Cameron Diaz in The Mask.
She's like a more approachable Keira Knightley.
That's a perfect analogy.
Two in a
That's
row.
like 2 days in a row. You pulled out like great comparisons.
Because normally I'm a moron.
but she just owned the character, and that's what everybody's paying attention. It's not like, because she's the hottest girl in the universe, which is what sometimes happens in this backwards thinking industry. It's no. She's going to get noticed, and she's going to get noticed because of her talent and what she brought, because she was great. So I think all three of them, long-term, and Adam Driver again was already on poise for long-term success before Star Wars ever came out. So.
All of them. They're all gonna. What I think the good news is that they all have. I think when you look at like Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, besides Mark Hamill being an amazing voiceover actor, too, they were pretty much typecast. After Harrison Ford got out of it, but those two were typecast. I don't think there's going to be a lot of typecasting for this cast, and I think that because Oscar Isaac already was on that path, John Boyega, what's going to help him as well as the guy is so charismatic
and likable.
Oh man, he just you can see him doing comedies and action. He can do it all. I think he's going to be around, and he's young, so he'll be doing stuff for a long time. And Daisy Ridley, nobody knew, because with Boyega, like you said, you saw him in Attack the Block, and then in 24, that very short thing that he there's just something about him. Daisy Ridley, you're like, let's hope this girl doesn't suck, because if she does, this movie's gonna be terrible. And she was the farthest thing from suck. She was great. She's my favorite thing in the entire movie because she can be one of those women that, you know, can do dramatic, but maybe now can do what Scarlett Johansson is doing. You know, maybe pop into some arts. Again, very young, 23, 24, whatever she is. So I think those two are going to have a very different career, though, than say an Oscar Isaac or a Donald Gleason, who's been in Donald Gleason is in everything. Right. I mean, the guy's probably been like Revenant and Ex Machina, and the guy's in everything. So I think they're all going to have really solid careers. And Andy Serkis, even though he's been around for a while too, I think this is another role in. I think episode 8 will be bigger.
I don't know that this particular movie did anything to further.
Not this one.
Yeah,
not this one.
Maybe the next one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think that Andy Serkis will even get more notice, because right around the time episode 8 comes out, I believe it's right around the time that Dawn of the Planet, or whatever the new one, War of the Apes. I think they come out the same year.
And his Jungle Book movie as a director will be coming out.
I think he's going to have a pretty big year. That
he's writing, directing, and starring in Steelskin, the Rumpelstiltskin movie.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's got his own film.
So Andy Serkis is another guy. He's already kind of out there, but I think he's going to have a really big year in 2017.
Daisy Ridley, she reminds me of Sigourney Weaver in Alien.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
That's my comparison. Like a breakout star who no one knew who she was, is it the star of the film basically, and she's incredible. Like after Alien, Sigourney Weaver was on everybody's list,
right?
And she was in a ton of movies. I don't want Daisy Ridley to do what Mark Hamill did and get in a Corvette Summer type of a film. So it's like her agent now has to be on, like, because that's what happened to Hamill. Like Hamill, giant megastar, just on the same level as Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford made a couple of right moves by locking in doing Blade Runner and doing Indiana Jones and all. He just got into this rhythm. He
lucked into Indiana Jones.
He lucked into Tom Selleck was almost there's a lot.
Right.
He skipped in on that one, but. And we are so lucky he got to play Indiana Jones because he was amazing. So Hamill, he didn't have that kind of luck. He was in the Big Red one. A couple of different things that just didn't.
He got that accident too. That accident hurt his career.
Accident hurt him. But I'm just saying, it's like a couple of those moves weren't on the right moves in the Hollywood game. So you want Daisy Ridley to make those moves, especially while she still has some other films going on.
And she de facto became America's sweetheart before the movie ever came out. When the trailer came out, and that reaction video of her watching the trailer for the first time on her phone when she was in that bed and breakfast, laying in that bed, that thing went viral. Yeah. And America fell in love with, the world fell in love with her months before Star Wars ever came out. And so you're right. It's for Daisy Ridley, especially because she hasn't done anything else before to fall back on. The next couple of choices are going to be key and very important.
Boyega, incredible talent. I was a big fan of his from Attack the Block, and I was like waiting to see what the next thing that guy was going to do, because he literally was discovered doing Attack the Block. All those kids were all youngsters, and Joe Cornish did a great job with that film. That guy is mad talented.
I got it. John Boyega and Miles Teller in the Miami Vice remake.
A Lethal Weapon.
Or Lethal Weapon. I'm kidding about both.
I think Boyega's got a really long career, and his acting in The Force Awakens is infectious. His energy is so much fun.
I'm sucked in every time he's on screen.
Every time he's on screen, you're just like, you can't wait to see what he's going to do next.
And you don't know what he's going to say next.
You don't know what he's going to do.
I love that about him.
It's a great character for him. So Boyega and Ridley definitely are the standouts. And then you have all these other actors who are already established. You have Adam Driver, does a great performance. You have Oscar Isaacs, does a great performance. You have all these other people who are really like, they're not super well known yet, but they're amazing. They're known to all of us.
Well, they are now.
They are now.
Now they are all super well known. So those two are the standouts for me, and I can't wait to see what they do next.
All right, what's next?
Chase Berry writes, greatest movie car.
The DeLorean.
Batmobile, all of them.
DeLorean. All right, what's next?
Jakey Power Glory writes, has there been any word on the U.S. remake of Battle Royale? I feel like it would work great post Hunger Games. Thank you.
Yeah, it was called Hunger Games.
Yeah, that was the Battle Royale. They've already had a couple of them. They've had like 3.
There's the 3 Battle Royales. I mean, a North American version is a good idea to introduce the North American audience to that story. The thing is, will you have the guts, whatever studio, I'm not even sure which studio it is that has the rights, will they have the guts to really go for it and go hard R and make it disturbing and gruesome. And the things that make Battle Royale work in the original version, are you willing to do those things too? Because if you are, a North American remake could actually be pretty special.
It's
if
so
you're
close.
not,
It's like the Hunger Games.
It's a waste. Well,
Yeah, but this, it's
so
funny. Everyone
close.
always says that when the Hunger Games came out, everyone said, "Oh, it's a ripoff of Battle Royale." But no one, when Battle Royale came out, no one said it's a ripoff of Running Man, because when Running Man, you said, "Hey, Christmas tree."
I know, but the Running Man's a ripoff of the 10th Victim,
Right.
Which
There's
is,
always-
I mean,
there's
there's
always-
the
Every
most
movie is
dangerous
a ripoff
game
of something.
It's the most
so you
dangerous
could-
game
you
is the
could do
original.
it,
Original.
But I agree that you have to do it. You have to go, because we've already got the PG-13 version in Hunger Games. So if you're gonna do it, go the rated R version.
'Cause
Also,
it's the way Battle Royale makes you feel, which is like the best word I can describe is disturbed.
Yes.
Like disturbed at like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And you can't get that. Like, I'm the type of guy, hey, like, nothing, you don't have to make things rated R. If you really want to capture the essence of what Battle Royale is, though, and you're going to do it in North American times, you got to do it R. If you ain't going to do it R, don't do it.
Yeah.
Especially that'll differentiate it from the Hunger Games, because
Yes.
they are so close. It's literally like just there are so many movies and books written like that have this like battle to the death, pick this person and pick this person and throw them in a ring and fight. That's what this is. But like the difference between Battle Royale and Hunger Games is that visceral impact that you need to have. So.
And you know, it still haunts me. There's an image in Battle Royale that still haunts me to this day. It's right near the beginning. Remember, the movie starts off with the one Battle Royale wrapping up and finishing, and the winner is like this little 7-year-old girl, and she's sitting there, cute, adorable little Japanese girl, with holding a doll with blood down her face and this little smile. That image has never left me. And if you're going to do a North American version of this movie, you got to be able to capture that. And good luck. Good luck. If you can do it, I'm excited for you to try, because that would be cool to see. All right, what's next?
Ripcord writes, what happened to the Project X sequel?
I think they just realized, I got a kick out of the first Project X, to be honest. It wasn't as funny as I was hoping it would be, but it certainly had its moments. It just didn't do as well as I think they thought. Now, I don't know for certain that it's completely off the books. I don't know that it's completely off the books. Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't heard a thing about it.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
I was
right.
thinking about another one of my favorite cars in movies is the Spinner from Blade Runner. There you go.
Or one of the any one of the cars from Mad Max.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing
are
cars.
pretty
You got
brutal
Death,
looking things.
Death Race 2000. Those cars. Check those crazy zany cars out from the
All
70s.
right, what's next?
Brooks Wilkins writes, what do you guys think of David Oyelowo as a potential future Bond?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
him or Idris Elba.
Him, Idris Elba, who's playing Superman? Why am I drawing?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, who was next in line to play Bond until they gave it to Daniel Craig. He was going to be Bond already. I think he would make a great Bond. There are a lot of guys out there, and David's name would certainly be. Look, he wouldn't be my first choice, but he's one of those names that you could pull out of this bucket, where all the names in this bucket, any name in that bucket is one I'll be happy with, and David is definitely one of the names in that bucket.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Andrew Wintermass writes, can you explain when the term sweaty/sweaties came about? I get what it means, but I'm just curious how it came about.
Behind the scenes, I like
Kind
it.
of accidentally.
Yeah, you know what? I was just calling people sweaty nerds, and I just started my sweaties and started using the word sweaties, and it caught on.
it caught on.
So
What I loved is when we were going by Burbank 16, and everyone, all the super fans, and they were like lined up, so we deemed it Sweaty Village.
yeah,
That's right. Well, and I think yesterday we were having lunch in a restaurant here in Burbank. Yesterday, one of the waiters stopped by and goes, movie talk. Yeah, he goes, I'm a sweaty. I watch the show every day. So,
Yeah,
so the
right.
term is
Yeah.
like
and
really
it's an
caught on.
endearing thing. It means like what it means is like when you start talking about something that you really dig, what you really love, your brow starts to get sweaty. So you start to get like you get more excited. You're like, I love that movie, this and that. And you get really energized, and that's what it means. A sweaty
That's
nerd.
not what the origin for me personally was.
That's
though.
what my origin is. That's why I call it sweaty. If you're a sweaty nerd, you're getting all sweaty and drippy about the thing. So I just started calling people sweaties.
You know, where I first started hearing it kind of in those terms was talking about Comic-Con, because the phrase was always, you're always walking shoulder to shoulder with all these sweaty nerds, because it's true. I mean, Comic-Con is a cultural phenomenon. It's fantastic, and you've never smelt the stench of human body odor like you have on the floor of Comic-Con late Saturday, early Sunday.
It welcomes you when you walk in. It
It
goes,
welcomes you when
I
you
know,
arrive.
but that's why they're so sweaty.
Yes.
That's because they're like they got the backpacks. They're
They're
like,
ready.
I must get to the next toy. Like walking all quickly, working up that sweat, son. Sweaty nerd.
We are all proud sweaty
Yeah.
nerds. All right, what's next?
All right, this is kind of an interesting one. Caden Larimer writes, is Hollywood as unoriginal as people claim it is?
Nope.
Thanks.
No.
No, it isn't. You know who calls Hollywood unoriginal? People who have no originality. I have said this before. I will stand by. Even, do you know, to me, the most original thing of like award of the Oscars is not best original screenplay, it's best adapted screenplay. Do you know what kind of creativity you have to take a pre-existing property and do a translation on it? Because now you're bound. You're kind of bound. Now your creativity really has to kick in because there's certain walls and restrictions you got to work within to still create and deliver a great product. So no, everybody says, oh, they did a Planet of the Apes, now they're doing another Planet of the Apes. That's lack of creativity. No, it's not, you idiot. That is not what just the first concept of what the movie should be. That's not where creativity lies. Creativity lies not in that 1% effort of coming up with your concept. It's in the 99% effort of taking that concept, fleshing it out, building it, putting it together, and then executing it to perfection and putting it up on the screen. That's where the creativity is. And so I don't know, Schnepp, as a content creator yourself, how do you address that question?
I agree with what you said. I think the execution of the idea is 90% of the idea. Ideas are truly a dime a dozen, and it doesn't just have to be in Hollywood. You could be wherever you are, and you can come up with some really cool, unique ideas. And I guarantee you that if you thought of something, there's at the very least, 100 other people who thought of the same exact thing as you. Why? Because we're all part of this cultural melting pot of media and entertainment, and we're all influenced by things that we love. So we're taking a little bit of this flavor, a little bit of this flavor, and a little bit of that flavor, and then your own flavor that you just like a bunch of other people have that interest in those flavors, and you come up with certain ideas. Then it comes down to who can actually execute those ideas. So certain people I wrote this screenplay that's just like this screenplay, that's just like this screenplay. You get it to the next person, they're able to take that and execute it, i.e. sell it, get the money to make it, get the stars and the producers and the directors to, the studio behind it. It's this whole process. So there is no lack of creativity. It's an overabundance of creativity. So many people have ideas. So many people have stories. I have this story for this or that, or they have their favorite TV show. I've come up with 5 different stories for this TV show because I love this TV show so much. So people are really invested in the things that they love. So I think there's no lack of creativity. I think it's in fact quite the reverse.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily a lack of creativity. What people also realize too is when you're out there and when you constantly hear stories about remakes or sequels, and you go, oh, they're being unoriginal. There's no creativity there, because those are the majority of the things that you're hearing. Because movies, especially sequels, when they make money, there's going to be sequels. There's going to be, and other studios are competing with franchises. So right now, the comic book movie is huge. So then you hear a lot about DC and Marvel. So you think, oh, they're just doing comic book movies. That's it. But then you forget when you have a movie like, let's say, Edge of Tomorrow or Ex Machina, when not a lot of people really hear about them, or they're not doing it well. There's not a marketing push behind them. They're out there, and a lot of times, and we've said this many times, a lot of times you guys aren't seeing some of the original movies, so you think, oh, they're not being creative. It's just a matter of the marketing machine as well too. But you look at how many different things are constantly being putting out there, and look at some of your favorite actors. Look at some of your actors today. Go on IMDb and look at some of their projects they're working on. And some of them, you're like, what the hell is that? I never heard of it. Those are some of the smaller movies that they do, creative movies, original movies. They're out there, and it's a constant machine. There's so many different minds working on things all the time.
And here's a great example, too. Think of a movie like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, wins 11 Academy Awards. Are you going to look at me in the face and say there's no creativity in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King? Oh, it was a book already. Oh, it was already an animated movie. Yes, those two things are true. Do you really want to look me in the face and say there's no creativity put into making Lord of the Rings, Return of the King? Give me a break. All right, what's next?
Sean Lallen writes, will we ever see a 4-hour movie ever again?
Nope. I mean, not an original first-run theatrical release film.
They'll split it into 2 movies.
Yeah, they'll split it into 2 movies,
right.
Or what you might get is something like what happened with the aforementioned Lord of the Rings, is that they did a re-release later of the full director's cut, which a couple of them peaked over 4 hours. You might get that, but as far as a first run of the movie, I think exactly what Christian just said. You're probably going to get split into 2.
Hateful Eight is 3 hours and 2 minutes. So that's a 3 hour and 2 minute film.
Still a full hour
I know,
short.
I know, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't say never. I would just say probably in the next 10 years you might get one.
I don't know. Tarantino
maybe.
tried to do it, and they made him split it into 2 movies with Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, yeah.
I'm just saying though, it's not impossible but I don't see it happening either.
All right, let's take 2 more quick ones.
All right, Michael Guljar writes, me and my friend are huge movie-going fans, and we're thinking of starting a review page. How should we go about doing this?
Instead of us answering it here again, I will tell you about this. I did, over a year ago, I did a full 2-hour video on how to get started in online film punditry, YouTube, podcasts, or blogs. It's a full 2 hours. I give an awful lot of information in that. Wendy, if you can remember, let's put into the description of today's video a link to that video. So if you're watching this live, check back in about 15 minutes, look in the description of the video below, and you'll see a link to my video on getting started. It's like I said, there's a lot of information in there, both from a philosophical point of view to practical stuff like what kind of equipment should you use if you're going to do podcasts or videos, how do you do something on the cheap, how do you expand, all that kind of stuff. So all that is in that video. I will leave a link in the description below. All right, what's next? Last question of the day.
Sean Murphy writes, what's your guys' predictions on what will be announced next year?
What will be announced?
What will be announced? Like what big, I think finally next year, we've already heard rumors and rumblings, but I think we're going to finally hear it's all a go. The green light is given. Production is begun for a Star Blazers, or also known as Space Battleship Yamato. I think that's going to get announced next year, and I'm going to be jumping up and down for joy when it does. I freaking loved Star Blazers when I was growing up, so that to me is a big thing we're going to get announced next year.
Flash Gordon finally going to confirm it.
Yeah, because they've been talking about it.
Matthew Vaughn, they've been talking about how he's been rumored to do it. I think it's going to be confirmed.
I want that confirmation so bad, but I think they will finally confirm that they are shooting The Batman with Ben Affleck. Yeah. I think that'll be announced probably a week or 2 before Batman v Superman actually drops, just to get that excitement really pumping. They're like, we're start shooting The Batman on whatever date they're going to announce. So that's definitely an announcement. And I think once Civil War drops, a little more flavor will be announced as far as what's going to be the Infinity Gauntlet 1 and 2. Like I think we'll get
post-credit stuff.
Yeah, I think it'll be a post-credit thing, and they'll also make a little like a story brief, like Infinity Gauntlet. It's about this.
I think we'll also be announcing. When we go Star Wars talk, I think we'll be announced. At least we'll get some information that Vader is going to be in Rogue One.
I got 3 other big potential ones. Number 1. Inspired by the documentary The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, director Martin Scorsese is going to say, I want to pick up where Tim Burton left off. I will finish what he started. And because of this documentary that inspired me so much, I am going to make Superman Lives. I'm going to make Superman Lives, and I'm going to hire as a special consultant John Stepp to help me along the way.
It's just Martin Scorsese standing in front of a Beetlejuice head. I will finish what you started.
Awesome. Steven Spielberg is going to buy the rights to my book, The Pride, and he's going to make that into a feature film. And I'm also going to predict, no pressure, Mark Ellis is going to get engaged in 2000 and... who am I kidding? No, he's not.
Hey, Mark Ellis was in The Force Awakens. I don't know if you guys saw.
Yeah,
He was like, I want my Raptors or
Han
whatever.
Solo.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him say that.
Solo. Where's the haggis? Okay, yeah. Anyway, that will do it for us, guys, for this installment of Collider Movie Talk, the final one before our Christmas break. Remember, we don't got a show Thursday or Friday. Tomorrow, though, Jedi Council is going to air on the channel, so come back and check for that. And we still will have our weekend mailbag show. So Saturday and Sunday will be weekend mailbag shows. I'm really excited because one of the shows this weekend is going to be the traditional movie questions, but one of the shows we're doing this weekend is just all behind the scenes questions, like what one of you asked a little bit earlier about the behind the scenes, how we make stuff happen, tips about YouTube, and all that kind of stuff. We're taking just all those questions in one of the mailbags, so I'm really excited about that.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.